Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands-On SAP Dev with me, DJ Q Macro. What's going on? Has it gone blank? Oh my goodness me, already. What's going on? Live. Let's see. What's going on? Hello. Yeah, no, I think I should be here. Can you hear me okay? Hello. Can you see me okay? My live playback is sort of blank in YouTube Studio. I'm not sure what's going on. So put in the chat whether you can see me, please. So welcome one and all. Ankit, welcome, and V says, oh, I'm here. That's really weird. There was a bit of a delay. Thank you, Mark. Sound is great. Good morning from Mescada. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. So, yeah, let me say hello to everybody. Ankit, you sent a message and you retracted it. I'll come back to that in a second. Just make sure I understood. Vizes, good morning to you in Thailand. Angelo, good morning. Mark, good morning. Yalok, good morning. Kaloyan, CDS Watch Dash Live. I like it. Chiara, buongiorno a tutti. Good morning to you too, and Ajay, good afternoon to you, Ajay, and Ashok, good morning, and everyone to you in Belgium, and Kate, good morning, thank you for the message, by the way. Matthias, good morning. Arif's Learning Lab, good morning to Arif's Learning Lab, excellent. Sidish, good morning, and Torsten Klingbeil, servus. Siam Babu, Siam Babu Alu, welcome back. Long time no see. Brilliant to see you. Harendra, hello, and Zahid in Solihull, sunny Solihull. I bet the weather's down there is as terrible as it is up here. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Chanaika, I always pronounce your name wrong. Sorry. It's Chanakia, isn't it? Yes. Good morning. Just want to check with you if you can discuss on the tool MBT and its lifecycle sub-info. Yes, but not yet. Good things come to those who wait, and I'm sure you can wait. That is, so by the way, for folks who are not sure, the tool to which Chanakia is referring, the multi-target application build tool, that is used when we want to start to put together a deployment for Cloud Foundry or Kima of all the things that we've built with CAP and other services, but that's a little bit further down the line. Carsten Schlegel, hello to you in Germany, in Stuttgart. Excellent, fantastic. So while the intro was playing, I put some URLs in the chat so we can get those out of the way. Basically, the SAP Developer News. There's a reboot of SAP Code Talk. Check that out. Daniel, good morning and welcome, Daniel in house. There's a new Code Talk series rebooted by Ian, but also more of the developer advocates doing the interviews, and maybe some are being interviewed as well, as you'll see with Ian and Tom. And also, what else did I put? What playlist? Oh yes. So I'm not sure if Antonio is here, but Antonio has been curating a playlist of video premieres. The first premiere was Wednesday on Edge Integration Cell from SAP Integration Suite. So there we go. So let's get going. Thank you all for joining. It's so lovely to see you all in the chat and everything. I love the chat, and I've got my tablet. In fact, that message you might have seen this morning, tap, is this thing on? It was just so I could send it from my main machine and see if it appeared on my tablet, which, if you watched last week, it didn't really work on my tablet. Angelo, when is my interview? Ooh, is there something I don't know? What interview are you talking about, Angelo? Interview? Oh, my interview. Sorry, yes, on Code Talk. I thought you meant like, I interviewed one of the many wonderful people in the CAP team, and that was on CAP and NeoVim. That's coming out shortly. I'm going to be interviewing Daniel, actually, because Daniel's a superstar as well. So I'm going to be interviewing Daniel as well, and we're going to be talking, I think, about CDS plugins. Oh yes, that's the other thing. F Capra, good morning to you. I think Ian's going to interview me about working on this narrowboat, which could be fun. So yeah, there we go. I don't know when that's happening, but I don't know anything really. Yes. So the other URL. Let me know in the chat. Somebody let me know in the chat if those URLs are still there, still scroll upable too. And yeah, so the February Developer Challenge being run by Tom. is on CAP plugins, and week 3 came out this week, and it's all about change tracking. It's awesome. So there we go. Good morning, Sanjay, to you in Delhi, India. Delhi, India. Fantastic. Right. So let's go. Let me go and go to. Oh, there it is. In fact, there it is. There's the February Developer Challenge plugin week 3, and it's pretty awesome. But anyway, there's loads of things. Always loads of things we want to cover. I've got my coffee, and oh yeah. So by the way, I think Ankit, you said. And then I think you deleted the comment, but it did remind me, thank you very much, it did remind me to remind you all, if you have a look at the replays of, for example, last week or the week before, let's go for last week, let's just pause that playback for a second, you will see if you expand the text there, I always go through the video after we've finished, and all the different links that we mentioned, all the different resources that we mentioned in the live stream, I put in a comment here. There we go. So all the things in that live stream that we mentioned, they're all linked there. So just look at the what's it called? The description, and there'll be a link to a comment in the community with all the links. So there we go. Thank you for reminding me. Sound. URLs in the chat. Yes, URLs are in the chat. Thank you, Angelo, for letting me know. Martin Vavik, sound. Now, in not very far from here, in Liverpool, sound is a word that's used to mean great. Sound. That's sound. So I'm not sure whether you're saying it in that way or what. It's just the word sound. I don't know. So let me know what you mean by sound. Okay. Where we left off last week, we'd been doing a few OData operations. We did a query, we did a read, we did a create, and we did a delete, and all those sorts of things using this test HTTP thing there. I've updated that and pushed that to the repo. So if you have a look in the repo, if you want to have a look, it's all there. So what's it called? Cat B2B. There, is it there? Yes. Oh, hello, test HTTP. Well, it's a bit large, isn't it? There we go. So there, excellent. So I'm not sure what sort of format this HTTP is, but anyway, you can see there it is. So it's there. Now, oh, Martin, my bad. Oh, anyone have sound? I think the sound is okay. Yeah, so it might be a problem you're in. I don't know. By the way, Ulrich, should I say, good morning to you in Frankfurt. Tempted fate. I was going to say the reason my voice is better than normal is because I went for a run this morning, a little bit of a bonus, quick run, and the weather was horrendous, and all of a sudden I ran into a hailstorm, which was freezing, and basically all the way through that hailstorm, which was for about 5 minutes, I was shouting, because it was 5:30 in the morning, I was shouting on my run the F word, because it was really painful. So I've been enunciating before this live stream. Anyway, DJ, stop talking nonsense and get on with it. John Murray last week mentioned GUIDs, and there was a really good conversation in the chat about GUIDs. So what I thought I'd do today is have a bit more of a look at GUIDs. Okay, so whereabouts did we encounter GUIDs, and what are GUIDs? Because one of the things is that at the moment in our data, just for ease of use, if we've got the books here, there we go, just for ease of use, we've got really simple IDs, 1, 2, 3, and in fact I think what we did was we put I had a meaningful, DJ breaking all the rules, a meaningful sort of key, where I see 101, if it's 100 series, I said it was, always an author. Anyway, that is not really scalable, and we should embrace better practices here. There's a link, Daniel or somebody remind me to find that thing in Capira, in Capire, talks about UUIDs and best practices there. It's really good. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. But at the moment then, what we've got is, if I have a look at not only the data, let's put it there, Bookshop Books, oh my goodness me, this is crazy, isn't it? Bookshop Books, and put it down there. So we've got a bookshop service. Within the service, directly defined, and we'll hopefully get to that as well, directly defined, we've got a books entity and an authors entity, and we've got we went back to the explicit key ID and we're using integer. And that's why, for example, note that when we have a look at the actual entity set, JSON, the JSON representation of the entity set, we get 1, 2, and 3, or we get 101, 102, 103. And also, if we have a look here, we can do a OData, what is it, a read operation 102, and there we go. Now, what I think we should do is just briefly embrace. Let's have a look at the cap buyer. Let's have a look at the documentation. So we can find it. CUID. Let's go from the aspect that we've already played about. CUID. Documentation is fantastic. So we've got aspect CUID, which we know about. Learn more about canonical keys and UUIDs. So does anybody know what a UUID is? In fact, does anybody know, because it's a standard, what RFC? So for example, who knows about RFCs? As in, this is an SAP live stream, so of course we're all thinking, remote function call, function modules, function pools, ABAP, forever. But I don't mean remote function calls. I mean request for comments. It's one of the standard documentation styles, templates, formats for encoding as in for writing down officially standards. For example, off the top of my head, because it's one of my favorites, the Atom Publishing Protocol, which is upon which the OData standard is originally based, is RFC 5023. But maybe more well known, RFC 2616. Who knows what RFC 2616 is? Oh, there we go. It's there. It's in my history even, because I refer to it quite a lot. In fact, I must have referred to it last week when we did that OData create operation. We got a 201 created, and in fact, the newly created resource can be referenced by the UIs returned in the entity with the most specific UI found by the location header field. Anyway, RFC 2616. RFC, one of my favorite sort of meta ones is RFC. Oh, DJ, stop digressing. But RFC 2, not 2. Anyway, no, let's not even go there. So RFC 4122. I think it's 4122. There we go, 4122. A universally unique identifier URN namespace. That's a bit of a mouthful for a Friday morning. However, Yelloch says as well, exactly right, Yelloch, a universal unique identifier, UUID. And basically, this is an incredibly interesting RFC that describes what a UUID is and sort of how to generate them as well. And it's got an example somewhere. There we go. The following is an example of the string representation of a universally unique identifier as a URN, which leave that sort of prefix out. So that's what a UUID generally looks like, 128 bits. So we've got like this, what's it, 4 bytes, 2 bytes, 2 bytes, 2 bytes. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count. 8 maybe, I don't know. So that's a UUID. And if we have a look here, we can see that, in fact, we looked here, didn't we? We looked here, we looked here, we looked here. CUID, go and have a look in there. And the CUID is defined as an ID element. Let's use the right word. I think I was often using the word property, but I think element is a better word to use. Daniel, or anybody, let me know what you use to refer to things inside of entity definitions. I use properties sometimes. Sometimes I use fields, which is sort of more at the persistence layer. But I think official CAP nomenclature, it's a big word for Friday morning as well, is element. Anyway, so the CUID aspect is defined as a singular element marked as being key and also being defined of the type UUID. UUID is one of the built-in types in CDS. Attribute, interesting, Mark. Attribute, that's good as well. Oh, there goes a goose. Can you hear that then? Flying past. So UUID is a standard sort of built in. Canonical keys and UUIDs. There we go. So, prefer UUIDs for keys. I'm not going to read all this, but in fact, let me just put that in the chat because that's super important. Go back and read that later. Don't interpret UUIDs, all sorts of things here. CDS comes with a small set of built-in types, UUID, Boolean, blah, 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 blah. So why don't we switch back here to what we had before, which was to use the CUID, let me put my face down at the bottom, CUID aspect, CUID, and do that there as well, and then we can get rid of that and that. Let's save that. Now, one of the interesting things is that the UUID type, which incidentally, I think we did see, didn't we, maps on to a standard, so the entity data model part of the OData standard also recognizes this thing, this type, and it calls it a GUID, UUID, GUID, same thing, right? It recognizes it. So, Javier, good morning. Question: is it possible to deploy data models in SQLite database and Cloud Foundry subaccounts just for POC? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not a good idea for production, of course, but yes, absolutely. And people do that. In fact, I think for the developer challenge on APIs last August, I created a service and I had some sort of static data that I wanted to have for that to be served for that service, and I stuck it in a SQL database. And I didn't need it to scale this thing, so it's just sitting there. Because of course, it's a very good question, but of course, a SQLite database. Maybe we should do that next. Actually, a SQLite database, not Cloud Foundry, but SQLite database, is a file. Okay, so it's a file sitting in a Cloud Foundry deployment, right? And so if you scale out, what's going to happen to that? This is why backing services, I don't know where that phrase came from. This is why backing services like a Postgres service or SAP HANA Cloud with HDI container, they're more appropriate for production because, of course, there's a separation of concerns and you don't have to worry about the fact that if you destroy a pod, a container, Kubernetes, or, a Cloud Foundry, I can't think of the word, a Cloud Foundry build pack based deployment and recreate it or scale it out, if you've got your data in a file, it's no good, right? So, but people do, e.g. me. Daniel says, I would usually say element. What a very polite way of saying that, Daniel. Yes, so I'm trying to use the word element. So remind me in a minute, Javier, or somebody, why don't we also have a look at deploying, because at the moment we're using in-memory, aren't we? So remind me to have a look at SQLite. We will cover that today. By the way, I'm away next week, so there won't be one next week. So let's give you a chance to catch up with everything. Javier, yeah, it's file, but required a SQLite to be installed on the Diego cell. Yes, yes, where the CAP service is on. Yes, exactly. So what was I doing? I can't remember. Oh yes, so we've just removed the explicit integer-typed key ID, and we're going back to the CUID, which is basically best practice, as you'll see in that documentation from CAP when you read it. However, there are some subtleties that we need to be aware of which we need to be aware. Of course, we can still get, we make an OData create query operation, but look now, the actual sort of, core. In fact, where is it? I'm sure I saw it somewhere. See list of built-in types. Look at that. UUID, an opaque string. Put in the chat what you understand by, or why there's a remark here, an opaque string. What is that implying? What does that tell us as developers, right? Put in the chat what you think that is. Here's an example value. And look, it's got single quotes around it. So basically it's a string. It says it's a string there. Basically it's a string and it's stored in an nvarchar 36. Now, also then, look, suddenly the values that came from here are now strings. But also, and I'm showing you this because I hit this thing and I was thinking, what is going on? My brain wasn't working. And this is what David Kuntz last week helped me out on, and DJ, you idiot, it's this. No, he didn't say that. In my brain, I said that. Now, if we were to go and try and specify a key to do an OData read operation, we get something weird, right? And we haven't got time to dig into exactly why, but I wanted to show you this. Basically, if you're going to define the key, or the property in general, the element in general, to be of type UUID, and we are doing implicitly by using this UUID aspect, then the actual values do need to be UUIDs. So let's put one in, or what we'll do is, first of all, we'll refresh that, and then we'll go and we'll use this testing. So here we go. We did that. Service name. I've tidied this up a bit. So we've got the first service name books, and I've got the proper sort of names here. I think Daniel quite rightly pointed out that I had some stupid names for my actual requests here, so I've cleaned those up. Queer books again. Good morning to Carter. Opaque. No, thank you. Yes, for answering the question I asked. Opaque, non-interpretable. Exactly. The string should not be parsed for embedded information or meaning. I couldn't have said it better myself. Fantastic. Yes. So basically, treat it as some data that is atomic, as it were. Don't try to work out things based upon the actual structure of the UUID or even the values in it. Exactly. And Yellow also says it has no inherent meaning or structure that can be interpreted by the system or application processing. Excellent. 100 points to all of you. Fantastic. Right. So if we do a send request, what's going to happen? We've got this thing here and we're not specifying. We've got a stock here. What's the stock doing? Let's get rid of that for now. Let's save that. Let's send this request. Let's see what happens. Good morning to you, Lawrence, in the Netherlands. Welcome, old friend of Hands-on SAP Dev. Welcome. So, send request. What's going to happen? There we go. Now, what's happened and what did and didn't I do? I didn't specify a value for. Remember, let's just go, we'll go here. I'm also in that same directory in my terminal. So if I say CDS compile to SQL, the services CDS, we see that I should have put not only a title, but an ID, okay? So all I specified though was a title. So, and I think it says somewhere here, it will auto generate, I can't think, somewhere in here, it will tell you that you can basically have a UUID based typed field, DJ stop saying field, element, and in OData create operations, for example, it will be generated for you. So I can do another one. Let's do another one. Here we go. Let's start. Run. Send request. Bang. Look at these things change here. Look at those things change. Bang. We're generating UUIDs each time. Shout out. Hey, McAlex, Luciano, shout out. Shout out. I did ask you to remind me of something. I can't remember what it was, which is why I asked you to remind me. Was that a shout out to remind me of something? Tell me what it was to do. Oh, there's some sort of aquatic bird behind me. I can hear it going. Meep. So now, oh yes, SQL, yes. So now if we have a look here, check it out. We get new entities in our entity set because we've been creating them, but also these entities are, in fact, let's do one where it's got a different name, bananas. So let's do one there and send that so we can see it. Oh, there we go, bananas. Right, so let's go for that one. So let's get that, and now we can. Let's see what happens if we do that. We can do that. Remember. This is like the new sort of OData trendy. What am I talking about, DJ? V4 sort of, single key style OData read operation. But we can also, I think, do that, right? Oh no, we can't. Ah, no, we can't. We have to do it slightly differently. But anyway, what was it? I can't remember which way around to do it. Let's go. Oh yes. ID equals. Oops. We can do that even. I think. No. Books. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the right segment, is it? Is it there? The EDM value of count for key ID equals that. Oh, books ID. Ah, I know what I'm done. No. Okay. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. If somebody can figure out what I'm doing wrong here, my brain's like going 1,000,000 miles an hour and 0 miles an hour at the same time. Well, the key thing is you need to specify. You can do it like this. Let's go back to what we had, which was that. In order to be able to specify like that, the values need to be UUIDs. Now, by the way, this came up in the conversation I had with books. Yes, that's it, exactly. Books. That works, Varun, if it's not a UUID. But if we do that, oops, without the single quote. So if we do Varun's, there we go. Of course. I was just still thinking of the single quotes. Fantastic. GUID equals. Look at all these different things here. Let's all try all the different things. Oh my goodness me. So we've got that one, and we've got that one. Let's just do that. GUID. Is that what you're saying here? Bong 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 bong. I'm not sure. Oh, is it not an equals? But is it? I can't remember. So yeah, if we were to do that, I think. Come on, DJ, what are you doing? Yes, there we go. Oh, we've done that already. Yeah, without the single quotes. Fantastic. Okay. Anyway, see, I told you I don't know what I'm doing. Now. So that's that. A bit of a digression. One of the things that I said, when I was having a chat with David, it's like, generating UUIDs. This is how I do it. For example, Node there's a crypto library built in, and that has a random UUID function. Okay, so you can do that. So what you could do, for example, is say node. By the way, while I'm typing this, somebody put in the chat what this triple less than sign thing is. It's a bashism. Let me know what you think it is. Console.log require. We need to escape these double quotes. Crypto escape double quote. Random UUID dot. Require crypto. Console. Oh no, I don't need that, do I? Here we go. Don't need to escape those. There we go. So let's do that again. So I thought, I can generate UUIDs like that, and then I can say, alias, put that in an alias or in a script. But then also notice that will put a new line, right? Console log will always do a new line. So when I'm in the terminal, which is mostly, that's nice, I want that. But when I'm in an editor, I want to sort of call out to a bit of code to insert something. I don't want a new line. And if we say instead, in fact, let me show you. I don't want to digress too much. UUID. I did this last night. If it's a terminal, if the context of this node execution is a terminal, then just use console log. Otherwise, use process.standardout.write, because that doesn't put a new line. So I can say here, if I say that UUID, I'm in a terminal. UUID, I'm in a terminal. If I say UUID word count length 0, because there's no line. Sorry, word count lines. There's no lines. If I say that, there we go. For example, see, there's a non-useless use of cat. Oh, DJ, pull yourself out of this digression and get back into the program. But basically, you can do that. So that, for example, we can go into here and say data, bookshops, what is it? Authors, CSV. If I say that, and then say, no, wait a minute, change word, control R equals system UUID. I could put something in there, right? And that's, that's what I love about Vim, because I can. Anyway, DJ, I'm digressing. In fact, let's do another one, right? Let's do a system UUID there. Now if we load it up and restart here, the authors should all, that's a bit big, should also have UUIDs. Okay. Anyway, what time is it? 8:33. I can't believe it. Right. Oh, Manish is saying hi, Varun. Excellent. Friends on the chat. Brilliant. Now, one of the things is that if I go now, because I restarted it, didn't I? I killed it just then with Control C, and I restarted it. So how many books do you think we're going to have? We're back to square one. All those books I inserted. Manish, it's okay to say hello to people. It's great. All the books I inserted in this test.htps are gone. Why is that? Tell me why that is. What are we doing here? The simplest thing that could possibly work, but what are we doing here which causes, let me do that one again. Look, I'm going to send a request to create a book with bananas. Send a request, refresh, there it is. But now if I Control C, stop the CAP server and start it up again, go here and refresh, that entry has gone. And all we've got are the 3 bits of data that were in the CSV file that were loaded automatically in it from databookshop.books. Tell me what you think. Local testing. Yes, Spiros, this is for local testing. But also sometimes local testing, I might want to persist some data, right? And what is happening, what is going on for me, grow as you go, convention over configuration, that is causing me to have my data that I will, create with OData create operations to disappear when I restart the CAP server. Put it in the chat. I think sometimes I go too fast and then I get the digressions. I'm going to just calm down for a second and put in the chat what you think is happening here. And in fact, we can see it on the screen here. Let me know. Shout out in the chat. Meanwhile, while you shout that out, let me move that down here. Close that, close that, close that. I want to go back to Chanakya. Fantastic. Thank you, Chanakya. Yes, in-memory database, right? Which is great. Look, successfully deployed to in-memory database. And Carter says because it was saved in SQLite in-memory, non-persisted database. Yes. And Kim says memory and data CSV files. Yes, that's where the data is coming from, data CSV files. Clears after every restart. Yep, Chanakya. Now, if we wanted to have a little bit more of a persistency for our testing, this is still in test mode, of course, we have the ability to say, I want to put this in an actual SQLite database, which goes back to the conversation we had earlier. We're talking about, who asked the question? Was it Javier? Asked the question about using SQLite databases, as in, .db files, for example, in Cloud Foundry. So let's have a look at that, because we're going to need that once we start playing around a little bit more. If we search here, let's use the CapIOS search. What's going on? Let's use the CapIOS search with K and SQLite. SQLite for using SQLite for. I love the documentation. Brilliant. Using SQLite deployment persistent databases. Look at that. Now you can also use just put that there in the chat. Let's put it in the chat there. You can also use persistent SQLite databases. Follow these steps to do so. Specify database name, database file name in your DB. Now, for those of you who have used CAP you know, before, a while ago, when you did a CDS deploy, which I remember, the 5th of November, CDS has all these commands, and we've used some of these commands. One of the commands that we haven't used yet is CDS deploy. Oh, Kim says, can this connect to SAP Business One as well? And is it using server layer? CAP can connect to anything that's got an API, that's got some sort of HTTP interface, or that's got some sort of, you know, event style interface, you know, like RabbitMQ or MQTT, or, you know, all these different event protocols. CAP can speak as well. So, no, I'm not a Business One person. I think I reviewed a Business One book once, which I learned a little bit from, but I don't know. And I don't know what you mean by, especially as one word, is that a specific thing? Server layer. So if you can explain a little bit more to me, to my small brain, what that is, and what you're referring to as it. Is it using server layer? I'm not sure what you mean there, so please explain a bit more. And while you do that, we've got CDS deploy to databases or cloud. Okay, CDS deploy -- help. If you have a look here, somewhere, I was having a look through this, and somewhere there's this no save option, which we don't need anymore, because before, when you did a CDS deploy to SQLite, for example, it would automatically and nicely put in for you what it thought you probably wanted for a require section in your package or in your CDS environment. Okay, but notice that it's deprecated. The package.json file is no longer modified. Now, there's different reasons I can imagine for that, most of which revolve around the fact that it might not know exactly what you want to do, so rather than guess, it doesn't. But also, I like the approach of basically being able to specify from the scratch what you want, so you know what you're doing. Okay, so Matthias, I'm a Business One person too. Matthias, welcome. Matthias, how is your sticker? I always think of your huge laptop with all those stickers on it, and the fact that you come to about a million code jams. It's amazing. So respect to you, Matthias. So Kim says service layer is SAP Business One exposing an OData API. Ah, okay. Well, I mean, if SAP Business One exposes OData, then, you know, it's easy for CAP to consume that stuff. Service layer is the new way of building integrations against Business One instead of the old SDK. Yeah, don't we all love the old SDKs? Who here used to program with the RFC SDK? Some of the first web-based systems that had an SAP backend are built from scratch in C using the RFC SDK. Oh my goodness, that was those were heady days, Stone Age. Anyway, so why don't we do this? Let's do this. Let's put that in here, and let's go back to here, and let's open up package.json. Right? You'll notice that I love the way that I think it's really cool. I love the way that, you know, when you move away from the copy code, let's get rid of that thing. When you move away from the sort of the code thing here, all the bits that are not specifically relevant, the context gets blurred out, and you get focus on what we're talking about here, but you get the context as well. I mean, just like beautiful. So I've copied all of this. CDS requires. Now, CDS, remember the CDS env? Let's do this thing here. CDS env. Look at that. CDS env gets requires. I mean, there's millions of things right there. Look, CDS env get requires, middlewares, auth. In fact, we could see here, CDS env get requires JQ keys. What are the keys? What are the top level things in that JSON output? Auth, DB, and middlewares, right? So we can see there's all sorts of different things. In fact, look, implicitly, oh my goodness me, it requires.db. We're discovering things together ourselves. Oh, so it's basically Microsoft SQL, MS SQL based. That's cool. We're learning things all the time, and we're learning things together here because I'd not noticed this because my brain's too small. But implicitly, we haven't specified this anywhere. So out of the box, there is a SQLite type of persistence database layer. The credential, what is the URL? This is like a special, value that says do it in memory, and it's implemented by the package cap.js SQLite. I mean, check out as well npm, search npm for that. It's, come on, internets. What? It's there. CDS database service for SQLite. Look at that. Let's share that as well. Bang. Okay, so we don't need that anymore. What we've got already is that, but now what we're going to do is replace, or not replace, but augment the environment with this thing here. Let's copy this and bring it in to our package.json. So let's get rid of that and paste that. Now it's going to be, we don't need that sort of outermost layer of things there. CDS, and we also need a comma, right? And also let's format it, format document. Kim, SL, service layer runs on both HANA and MS SQL. Awesome. Awesome. So, what have I done? I've added a new top level key, top level property, to our package.json because it's a very common and sensible place to put core configuration that's specific to your cap server requirements. Okay, you can put them in cdsSRC.json. You can put them in the env environment. You remember this sort of effective environment is a gathering up and mashing together of all these of values in all these different places. So now, what does this do? This says we have a requirement for a DB of kind SQLite, but the credentials, the URL. Remember the thing? There's a plane going up. There's lots of noise outside today. There's a plane going overhead now. Amazing. CDS, is it still there? Get requires DB. So we've got credentials, URL, DB, SQLite, because now I've overridden that thing. So if we now do a CDS deploy, what do you think is going to happen? CDS deploy. Now, oh, yes. What we'll also do, keep an eye. Spiros, they are coming to get me. They're coming to take me away because I'm just talking nonsense. They're coming to get me, Spiros. Help. CDS deploy. Keep your eye on this file list here. Let's see what happens. Check it out. db.SQLite. db.SQLite. So basically what's happened is that, remember when we had that error, was it last week, and we dug into the error, and the error occurred when we'd removed the ID from the definition of the entity, then we tried to start up with CDS watch, and of course it automatically tries to load anything it finds in CSV files in certain places into, and it said, oh, I can't find, I've got this thing in CSV, it's got an ID field, and there's nothing corresponding in the persistent in memory, right? That was actually in the deploy phase, wasn't it? Remember? And we're doing a deploy here, right? So now we've now got a db.SQLite. I've got SQLite in here. Yes, I think in my dev container definition in the Docker file. No, I think Christian's pull request. Oh, I've still got the old one here, but in Christian's pull request, he's changed it to a features thing for me. But basically in here, look, I've got an install of the SQLite, what's the word? Client. So we could say SQLite db.SQLite, and that will allow us to have a look inside the database. .tables, check it out. Oh my goodness me, check it out. Okay, so let's remove that. That's an old database. SQLite. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. So anyway, oh, I missed out something. Antonio says, "Ha, I was wondering about the plane. Excellent. We can include SBO service layer via CSN, but the positions of the documents are only accessible via array. In S4 HANA, the positions are exposed via separate OData point." This is fascinating. Don't apologize, Matthias. This is amazing. SQLite, the only database you will ever need in most cases. Great. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to read that later. As you can see in my SQLite, can we do this like the tables? I'm not sure you can do that. Oh, there we go. Look at that. You can put the command as the second parameter. You can see I've been messing about here with other things. So I'm not sure. Did I already have a db.SQLite? Tell you what we'll do. We'll remove db.SQLite, and we'll also put what should we call it? Hands on SAP Dev. Oh no, we'll call it Bookshop. And then we'll say CDS deploy Bookshop. There we go. That's better. So ignore the stuff. I don't know where that DB. It suddenly reappeared again. You have a bit of a premonition as to what I want to play around with you next, right? Or generally next. So we have here tables, and in fact, let's go into here, SQLite tables, select star from Bookshop books, semicolon. There we go. So we can play around with SQLite. But the more important thing is if now we do CDS watch, what's missing and what's there? Because I think this is really interesting. When we compare this to the output, and this is why, and also those who have been subjected to my ramblings in code jams on CAP will remember, like a nightmare, bad dream. I emphasize that it's super important to become friends with the output of the CAP server, because it tells you so much. And then the difference between what happened before and what's happening now, what's being output now, tells us things as well. So what can you see here that's different? And what can you not see here that we used to see? Yellow says in memory is missing. Exactly. And also remember that deploy things, loading data from bookshops.csv and loading books.csv and loading data from authors.csv. That's not happening either, because remember, does anybody know why? Because let's see if we can open up a split terminal here. Split terminal bash, the one true shell. If we do a CDS watch -- help, let's just retrace our steps. Let's put that up here as well, right? Oh, no, let's leave that there so we can see it here, right? Help. No init from, exactly. Carsten says no init from CSV. Perfect. We're not getting that. And why are we not getting that? Well, we're doing a CDS watch. So let's have a look at the help for CDS watch. Oh, CDS watch is just a convenient shortcut for CDS serve all -- with mocks -- in memory question mark. And remember, CDS serve help, right? CDS serve help is what's happening here. Let's make that one smaller. It's all nice and neat. In memory, check it out. A question mark there, which is an optional thing, automatically adds a transient in memory database. That's what we've all been talking about here, and you've been saying in the chat, as you know, the reason why the data that we add sort of via HTTP after we start the server, the reason that data disappears when we restart the server is because it's a transient in memory database, right? Which is bootstrapped on each restart. Adds a question mark to apply a more defensive variant which respects the configured database here. In fact, why don't we try what was it, the shortcut for CDS serve help, CDS watch help? Let's do it. Let's just run that. Look at that. But without, let's not put the question mark. Let's see what happens. I have no idea what happens. But why is that a uppercase Y? CDS serve all -- with mocks in memory. Let's move that across here a bit. What do you think is going to happen? I'm curious. Now, check it out. This is amazing. Where's that in-memory thing? There we go. Let's put that there and put my head up here a bit. Main top. By the way, I don't know if you can see it or not, I keep pressing. There's my little stream deck and press the different scenes. Now, what has happened? What has happened? We didn't use the question mark on the end. There. So the question mark applies a more defensive variant of this thing, which does respect any database if it happens to be configured, and only adds an in-memory database if no persistent one is configured. Right. But the variant of this in-memory option that we're using is this one. So it's saying, you want an in-memory database? I'll give you an in-memory database. Okay, so we're back to where we were. ConnectDB SQLite URL memory ignores this thing here because we've said, I want it in memory, does the normal init from data, blah, 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 successfully deploys this to in-memory database because, of course, it needs, we've covered that already, and then says, go, right? Now, but if we do this again and say question mark, only do it to in-memory if there's not already a configured database, bang. Look at what a difference a question mark makes, right? So now we've got bookshop.sqlite. There's no deployment here because it doesn't need to deploy anything because the database is not new. The new database that needs to be deployed into is this in-memory database, but we're not having an in-memory database here, so there's no explicit deploy in the logs here. So now let's go back to this thing here. We get the 3 values as normal. Okay. What I should do really start as a means to go on and put UUIDs in, shouldn't I? Let me just go back here. Data bookshops. I've got UUIDs there. So let's edit that, and yeah, let's get rid of those and say system. Oops, sorry. System UUID. In fact, what I'll do is I'll record a thing here. So insert system UUID there. I'm going to stop recording. Now I can say at you and at you. Look at that, the power of Vim. What other editor ID do you need? Right, so let's do that. But also, of course, now we have to redeploy, don't we? So let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let's just blast that away just in case. Bookshops.sqlite, CDS deploy, and SQLite bookshop there, select star from, what's it called? Bookshops.books, bookshop books there. Okay, fine. Now, CDS watch, in memory question mark, defensive variant. I never know why that, if I do a control D to exit the exit code 130, I don't know. So now we have things with proper UUIDs. Okay, that'll do. Oh, by the way, oh my goodness, it's almost time. But I just want to show you this because it's so cool, right? It's so cool. You can generate the UUIDs, we're using this crypto library in Node.js, random UUID. However, when we start to think about application logic, which we're going to be using the CDS libraries, check this out. And this is just a little glimpse. There's a REPL. There's a REPL command. Tell me what you think in, oh yeah, Vim. Oh yeah, Vim. Tell me what you think, or what REPL means, what it stands for. It's actually an acronym. cds.utils.uuid. Check it out. I mean, how beautiful is that? We could do a whole series on the CDS REPL, and in fact, Kapaya, K, Okay, cds.utils, is it there? There we go, look at that. Oh, the first one. Look at that. This is all within CDS definite. No, what is it? Where are we? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but there it is. Common utility functions. Let's put that in the chat as well. Can anybody tell me? Don't need that either. Where are we? Can anybody tell me? I can't even think of what the question was. What was I asking? I can't remember. Anyway. Now, if we go and bring back the test.htps, let's have, yeah, that'll do, bananas, that'll do, fine. Let's just run that, send request, and now, and notice here, by the way, that the CAP server does the right thing, gives us a 201 created. It gives us, remember we looked in the RFC 2616 earlier in this episode, and we saw the 201 created request, and it basically says, you know, it's good to put in the location header of the response the actual URL. In fact, there's the clue as to how to get to that thing. Look, check it out. Books. It's relative. Obviously, it's relative because it doesn't start with a slash. So paste that in. Bang. Go straight there. Bananas. Back. And if I refresh the entity set, we get it there. Let's do two more. Send request. Send request. Right. We got 5. Right. We got 5. Count equals true. We got 6, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. Now, I'm going to stop the server and I'm going to restart the server. CDS watch. What do you think is going to happen? Drum roll. Bookshop SQLite. Now, how many books? Let's go back to the thing here just to make sure there's nothing up my sleeve. How many books do you think we're going to have? They're all there. They're all persisted because it's not in memory. There's so much stuff I wanted to cover. In fact, one thing before we go. So if we have, let's say we wanted to have country of birth. There's a CDS type country, right? Country of birth. But now check out this. Check this out. If we have a look in here, let's get rid of that. Last thing. Come on, DJ, quick. Country. Annotate country. No, annotate country. There, look, type country. It's a type. But what is the type of this country type? It's an association. So now, if we CDS compile to, let's just have a look, services.cds. The last thing we'll do right now is check out all that stuff that we get. Oh my oh my goodness. And we get country of birth go. It's so exciting. We get this managed association between books and another entity, which is represented by SAP Common Countries. Mind-blowing. I'm going to cover that next time. Thanks for joining. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. There's so much to discover. It's beautiful. See you next time. Bye.